You probably want a clean house. I want a clean house. I don't like coming home to a messy house or waking up to a messy house. And that is why I'm so excited. I need to go to the donation center, so we'll be doing that. I'm also decluttering my final spaces in this video. So clear it out along with me, and it is going to be so lovely. So every day I was decluttering. Now this very first clip that I'm going to show you is just of when I decided I was going to declutter the downloads folder on my computer. I often kind of use that as a working area, and I just throw stuff in there. So I need to go in and just remove a bunch of stuff. I am a few days going to actually do some photos on my phone as well, which is so handy. And that just gave me a good boost and start for that day. And then the next day I did an area that you might struggle with too, and that is the linen closet. This is the area where we keep our extra blankets and sheets. I actually pulled out already a weighted blanket that I decided like we were not going to keep anymore. I checked with the family, nobody was using them. They're mildly bulky. They certainly are heavy. They're an annoyance to move around. And really, just the less we have in these areas, the better. Do you see the yellow in there? That's the color we had all over our house. And I wasn't a huge fan of it. But anyway, and like even sleeping bags, things like that, they're good to have. I mean, I don't think that having extra sheets and blankets is a bad idea. Now that my kids are older, it is less important, but when they were little, they're teenagers now, so they still might get sick. But when they were little, if they had the flu or something, like the stomach flu, I would be piling up sheets on the bed or towels on the bed, and then I could take them off as they got sick, which was really, really helpful. It is not easy being short. I just like crammed that up there and brought this down here. Painting drop sheets. Perfect. So when you're going through your areas, I'm going to give you a little system that I use in a bit, which I think you will find really helpful. But I like to first look at what is going on there and think like, what am I going to use? All of the things. And when it came to linen closets, ask yourself, do I need that extra stuff? Do I need sheets or blankets if we have family coming? Yes, you do. Unless you actually plan on like going around town and borrowing them or asking people to bring stuff, you're not going to want to ask your guests to bring their own sheets and stuff. I mean, maybe like sleeping bags and stuff for kids, but for us, we don't want that. We want our guests to feel welcome. So we want to have enough like when my brother and his family come to visit. But I did realize that we had some extra things that we weren't using anymore, which was handy. So we don't need all of the extra towels and all of the extra things. And I also realized some things should be replaced, like old pillows. Now, the next area I tackled is my cookbook collection. So you could tell I was kind of starting to come to the less used areas, the hidden spots. And my cookbooks, I love cookbooks. And I used to give myself one every year at Christmas, but I decided I didn't need to do that all of the time because, of course, I am now a minimalist light person, so I only buy things I'm going to use. But I also realized I even had instructions in here. I had cookbooks that came with the Instant Pot, did not need that. And I was able to look through and decide like, okay, what things am I going to pull from when I am cooking? Quite often, I use my Plan to Eat app on my phone. I even keep my own recipes from my blog on that app because it is so handy to cook from. And some cookbooks I had that had been handed down to me, so it was kind of easy to go through them. And then I realized, okay, some of these cookbooks I had purchased and was like, am I even going to use these? Like, maybe there are good recipes, maybe there aren't. So instead, what I did was I popped them out or got on the couch, sat down, looked through them and decided which ones had recipes that I might like, which ones I was just like, nope, don't need them. Sometimes I can just take a photo and I have an album in my phone called recipes. So when you are decluttering, ask yourself, is there another option? Like I said, if you even just take a photo of something, you maybe don't need that book anymore if there's only one or two recipes, which has been the case with so many cookbooks. Hello. Okay, so today I'm actually just going, it's gorgeous out. You might be able to see. And it was like almost 0 degrees last night, which means I really need to get into this garden. So this is a kind of a different decluttering today. And technically I probably would be doing myself a favor if I chop down the rest of these tomatoes. Because I don't think they're going to make it anymore. But what I really want to do is the greenhouse. And this is my greenhouse. She's like my best friend. And it is damp in here. But I am excited because I am going to pull out just about everything. There are a few peppers that I can harvest still. This is a Sugar Rush Peach. Isn't that a pretty color? And then I've got some habaneros. Oh my gosh, one of my sons ate like half of one of these. And he was so uncomfortable. Oh my gosh. And then I've got a couple of jalapenos. But won't it be nice to get this tidied up? And I really am only going to give myself about half an hour to do a pretty decent tidy, so join me for this. I don't usually do stuff in my garden, but for right now, I thought it would be a great opportunity, since I did have to declutter this space, to explain to you my mighty method. And I break things down into triage, simplify, and thrive. This is my method, and I am an emergency trained nurse. So triage, very important. We need to see where the urgent things are, we're going to assess. We're going to see what's the worst, what's the best, and make some decisions there. And I love to break it down into, like, you know, you could even think, how about let's say we're tackling our kitchen. You can do this for so many things, but commitments in the kitchen, right? Like meals that have to be cooked, tasks, stuff, budget, and then you can even use energy. And of course, like, this doesn't work for everything, but say in the kitchen, we're going to talk about tasks. Let's look at the tasks that you have in the kitchen, that I have in the kitchen. Number one, I need to be preparing meals. I also need to keep it clean. I also need to keep it organized, all of these things. So I can break all of the tasks down into the kitchen, like as big or as small as you want. You could do that. And so that's the triage spot, is like just getting a real good overhead look at things. You could even write them down. The next thing is to simplify. What can you simplify in that domain? You could do just the whole kitchen, or you could even just go back to tasks. What tasks could be simplified in there? Well, I could have a way to streamline the dishes. I could have a kid doing it. I could make a chore chart, which I have, and it works well in limited areas. The other thing we can do is evaluate this, or limit the stuff in the kitchen. What sort of things could be removed? What sort of extra things don't you use? As far as the fridge goes, maybe you want to clean out your fridge and keep that more organized. That is an example of simplifying in that space. So you've triaged it, you've looked at it, and you're like, all right, this is where I want to spend my time. These are the tasks, blah, blah, blah. I've simplified it. I've removed things that I don't need to do or that don't need to be done, because sometimes we have things in there that don't need to be done. Then you're going to thrive. We're going to systematize things. How can you systematize the tasks that need to be done in the kitchen? So part of that can have, maybe you have checklists. Maybe you have a chore chart, like I mentioned. You probably would want a meal plan, which I love to have, and I use my Plan to Eat app for that. This method works so well for so many things. My mighty method. I'm going to actually be opening up a membership. It's going to be super fun. There's going to be a monthly Zoom call because I miss your shining faces. I love having Zoom calls, and a weekly video. We're going to apply the mighty method to so many things. It's going to help you streamline so many areas of your house, how to assess every different spot. We're going to talk about that, even assessing, say your kids and the activities, or just like overall family stuff. Maybe you're like, okay, like this is all the stuff we do. And then you go, okay, maybe I'm going to like go ahead and we'll remove one play date a month or something like that. And you're like, do I have all of my kids' friends' moms in my phone? Do I have that organized? It's going to look at that, and it's going to be, and also on top of that, it's going to be a super chill, relaxed space to hang out. And you can actually get on the wait list now. It's going to open in a couple months, but if you get on the wait list, you'll be the first to know when the doors open. So you can go to minimalisthome.ca/tidywait and look at the greenhouse. It felt so good to get in there, to remove those extra weeds and to get it organized. Let's have a look around. This is the end of the first day. It might not look like much, but I did we just blew out these lines and the rest of the garden. And I stacked all of those under there. So happily I got my workout in. And yeah, I will come and tidy up the rest another day. Less of a priority now. And now I am going to go make some sourdough. I am just laughing at myself because I thought I was filming, but I was not. So this is what I've decluttered so far from this closet. This hat, this very big, what were these called? I can't even remember. Like a sweater. This, I don't think I have a pile of things that, there's Crumpet, that people need to make a decision about because I can't decide for everybody. And I'm going to get back to this. It was a little bit frustrating because I had even done like before shots and all of these things, but my little camera needed a full reboot. I was actually really worried I was going to lose it, but if you have an area where you keep your coats, I assume you do, and shoes, especially with the kids and stuff, it can get so dirty so fast. It's funny because I thought there was like an old sandwich in a backpack or something, but I realized because I had this, I could smell something. It was actually garlic that I needed to plant. So I have a video where I have done that on my other channel. So check that out. But it felt really good to go through and say, okay, so like this jacket is ripped. This jacket, that one I'm lifting up right there, I made a pile of jackets for everybody to look at for any stuff and just say like, okay, what is going to stay, what is not going to stay. That one jacket I just picked up was a kid jacket and it was all ripped, so I got rid of that. And I was able to get people to decide what they were keeping and what not. One of them was a jacket my husband had before, the blue one that I had thrown on the floor earlier. And that was great because my middle son needed a rain jacket, so he was able to use that. And I also store puzzles and things in this closet, and you can see those bags there. That's where the garlic was. I decided we were not keeping the puzzles. We are not a puzzle family, the garlic. I also we had a bunch of like Lego instruction manuals and they were ripped. And I was like, but why would we keep that? If we needed to rebuild the Lego, we could go ahead and find the instructions online. And that's one of the beautiful things about online, say as much as you want for online stuff. It can be really handy. So just going through this area, it just felt like I was like old cloth masks. I was like, nope, getting rid of those. I thought, okay, I guess I'll keep a couple paper masks just in case, like if we have to go to the lab or something when we're sick. But other than that, it just felt really good to go through this area, go through the accessories, some hats that people wear and don't wear. Just so nice to get this space nice and tidied up and clean. Okay, so in my office, I have to first explain, I took this picture down to put up a Halloween one. And then these are my protein cookies I just bought on sale. And I hide them from my family because my protein candies, they don't understand that they're for mom. And they're not even as good as regular cookies. Okay, so this is my office. Yoicks. There are definitely things I know can go and other things that I can tidy up and organize. I'm super excited about that. And what's great is like you'll do stuff like this and you'll be amazed at how much you can get done with just a little bit of attention. So this is a storage space. So it's okay to have stuff in your storage space. Like, remember that. So I think sometimes we worry that there's a pressure to go full minimalist, as in keep nothing. And I don't know. I've never actually been to another minimalist house. I am minimalist light, right? I have my hobbies. You saw my greenhouse. I have, a kitchen that I love to cook in. I have a business and I have things that I need to keep for that in my office. And a lot of people, they worry that by starting to go through their things, they're going to have to get rid of everything. Those little hearts there, I made one Valentine's Day and I put them on each of my kids' door. And I guess I have just kept them, which I think I like to keep little things like that inside cupboards so that it's sort of hidden. But that's the point. We have these little storage spaces to store things that we use. And quite often, one of the reasons why we end up stuck with the piles of stuff on the kitchen counter and the the crammed drawers and all of the things. I took off my sweater because I was getting hot. And it is because we think we need all of this storage space. Meanwhile, we only need a few key storage spaces. I need a few things for my business. I need to be able to store family paperwork. So this cupboard here is a good spot where I do stash a lot of my candles and my essential oils, which I mostly just use in the wintertime. But it's nice to have a spot to keep things, right? You don't have to get rid of everything. A lot of people, they're worried that if they're going to go through things like that, how are you going to decide? Because you feel like, oh my gosh, there's going to be this pressure to literally get rid of everything. Meanwhile, that's actually not the case. You don't have to get rid of everything. You get rid of what you don't use. You keep what you use. And that's my favorite way of going through things now, is being like, what am I keeping? Everything else is going. And that really was the strategy that I was doing here. Like even going through this drawer here with all of the little stationary things, all of the pens, all of the pencils. I was like, holy moly, there were so many pencils in there. And even looking in the other drawer where there's all of the cables, like cables are just such a burden. But once you say to yourself, well, what cables do I need? What cables am I keeping? That's much easier. And then I also have like little drawings and stuff that my kids have done that I'm going to keep. Meanwhile, other things I was like, no, I'm not. Even like those canvases you maybe saw me like very quickly hold up. I don't use those. I'm not keeping them. It's much better for me to donate those to somebody else who actually will use them. How nice for them that they can go to our local thrift store and purchase them. And what's great, then the thrift store, they make some money and they can use it for our hospital, because that's like one of the thrift stores that I use. And it's really nice for that reason. I like that. I don't know if you caught that, but I do have a little secret stash of candy and cookie that I like to have. And also my son made me that very sweet YouTube placard when I hit, I think it was 50,000 subscribers. I can't remember, but so sweet. And how many binders do you have? How many books do you have that you don't need? Can you go through them and decide, like, am I going to have something replace this? Is this going to be mailed to me again? Do I need to keep, like I have seed catalogs, not going to come again. I can just declutter things. And the part of putting things back, organizing them, I love putting things back and just finding the perfect spot. And so it just feels so nice and so organized. All right, this is so much better. Oh, so much better, so much better. What is this? This goes with the other ones there. There we go. That's still messy looking, but it is actually kind of organized. That has lost its position as being a hiding spot. There we go. Isn't that so nice? Isn't it just so nice to have your house cleared out. This is my full decluttering framework right there. Thank you so much. Stay tidy and mighty. I hope something great happens for you today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.